Well, howdy everybody. How's everybody doing today? This is your friendly neighborhood Chef Shade Tree coming at you. Well, yeah, my last video I said that I got the shelves put up here in my tent out here. As you can see, I got the plywood on them, everything. Well, this video is going to be on my grandpa's stuff. When I was growing up, my grandpa had a woodworking shop. My grandpa worked at a place called Steinman Lumber. He worked in the lumber yard. And he did about everything there. My grandpa knew a lot about wood and a lot about woodworking and everything else. And he had his own little shop at the house. Maybe, hopefully, one of these days, maybe I could go over to where he had his shop at the house. I don't exactly know who owns the house now over there. It's over by my brother's place. But he built a nice little shop over there for his woodworking stuff. A little woodworking shop that he had. Well, when he passed away, and then my grandma passed away, well, we had to get rid of the property and everything that was there. And, well, my grandpa's woodworking shop was still there. And we were going to auction everything off. But before that, Mom was like, well, what are we going to do with this stuff here? Grandpa's stuff. I said, well, I'd like to have it. I mean, I wouldn't mind having it because I took woodworking in high school. And I actually went down to Grandpa's shop and worked down there with him for a while, for a little bit, 1 year. I do have a story about one of the pieces in here, but I'll get to that here in a minute. But before I get to that, let's start seeing what my grandpa had. So, well, let's come back here. Right here, my grandpa made a router table. As you can see, there's a router bit there in that. As you can see, right there's the thing for it. Yeah, my grandpa made that. Right there is part of his dust collecting system. That was a Sears Craftsman, dust collecting system. And there's, some of the hoses for it right there. Then we'll go to this here. I got a scroll saw here. This is an AMT 4601 16-inch scroll saw. I do not know if this works or not, but there it is. I don't know if any of this stuff works. I mean, it used to work. I don't know about it anymore. But there's that. And he had another scroll saw, which is right there. That is a Powercraft, I do believe. I'll look at this real quick. There you go, Powercraft. These things are old. I don't know exactly how old this one is, but I think that one I think was made in like the 80s. So I'm not for sure about this. I'll get back to that later. But back here, as you can see, this is a Delta 10-inch table saw. That's a good old table saw right there. There is a wood lathe right there. That's what that is. A wood lathe. That motor right there, that's a General Electric motor. That motor, I do believe, goes on my grandpa's router table. That's what he used for his motor, for a router. There's some tools here. I didn't know if I wanted to go through this stuff or not. But there's that right there. Adjustable clamp. And then a bunch of stuff, some sandpaper, some other odds and ends things in here. I don't know what's all in here, but maybe one of these days, maybe we'll go through this box. Looks more sandpaper stuff. But yeah, there's some stuff in there. Put that in there. His radial arm saw. That's the radial arm saw. It's a 10-inch radial arm saw. You don't see this stuff much anymore. It's a radial, or it's a Powercraft. Ward's Powercraft. 10-inch radial arm saw. Yeah, I'll show this back here real quick. This was in my grandma and grandpa's house, actually. This was a wash basin. I think there was a wash thing that goes in there. Here's some oxen. I have to say that my grandpa had a antiques showroom too. He built his woodworking shop, and then above it, he had a little antique shop, or antique, what do you want to call it? Museum is what he called it. Yeah, he called it a little museum of his he had. He had oxen things and wagon wheels and all kinds of stuff up there. Right there is one of them tables you can spread out, use. Tables, like a sawhorse type deal. Now his joiner. I actually have a little story about his joiner. That is a Craftsman joiner. So one year, back in 1989 is when I graduated high school. Well, my senior year, I took woodworking. I took shop, and I built a waterbed for my senior class project. So that was my, project for the year. And as I worked on it at school, I didn't quite finish it up through the year. I can't remember when we started. I think we started on it after. I think it was the second half of the year that I started on the waterbed. Made it through the year. Well, I didn't quite get it done, and I wanted to take it to the fair. So I ended up taking it over my grandma and grandpa's, put it in their garage so I can finish it up. Well, one day while I was there working on it, Grandpa went down to the woodworking shop, and a little while later he comes down to the house. He was kind of moving, or he was driving. He had an old I can't remember how you pronounce it, but it's the equivalent of the El Camino, Chevy El Camino, and the GMC El Conquistador or something. I can't remember what it's called, but anyways, he had one of them, and he was driving a little faster than normal. And he kind of was messing around with what the heck's going on here. He gets out of the car, and here he has blood all over the place. Well, what the heck is going on? He said he cut his fingers in the joiner. What the heck? How'd you cut your fingers in the joiner? Yeah, he cut his fingers. Well, he had bleeding like a stuck hog. So he says, well, go and get Grandma. She'll take me to the hospital. I said, no. Grandma's not taking me to the hospital. Well, this was 1989. Guess what, guys? That's when I had this little red Mustang going. My Mustang was over there at my grandma and grandpa's. I drove it over there, and I said, you're getting in the Mustang. We'll put Grandma in the back seat, and we'll head to the hospital. So my grandma and grandpa live on County Line Road, and they're, I want to say probably maybe about 10 miles from the hospital, Bluffton Hospital. Hammer down. My grandpa was bleeding, stuck like a stuck pig, and had blood everywhere, had a towel wrapped up and on his hands, and he didn't want to remove it because I was like, okay, let's get going. So I was hammered down the County Line Road, probably doing $150 or so. I don't know how fast I was going. I had the speedometer pegged in it, so I was running pretty fast. Well, got to the hospital, got him in there. Here come to find out, he was, doing the thing like he do, and then I don't know how he did it, but he got 3 of his fingers. I think these 3 fingers he cut down to about right in here, about down to his first knuckles where he cut them off at. But yeah, the people at the hospital says, well, can you get the fingers or what? Well, if they're in the joiner, there's no more fingers left. They're probably shredded. They're probably sawdust by now. And sure enough, me and my cousin, we went over into the shop, looked down, and there was a wood crate in here that Grandpa had that could catch the sawdust in. And sure enough, there was fingers, grated fingers in the bucket. But anyways, I had to tell you that story. That was one thing that Grandpa did that I couldn't believe he did it. He had been working on around this stuff all his entire life. I think at this time in 1989, my grandpa was I think he was in his late 70s, I do believe. If I figure it up, I'll remember it. But he was born in 1912, so figure it up. 1989, he'd been in his late 70s. Yeah, late 70s. And he'd been around this stuff all his entire life, and he cut his fingers off in a joiner. Couldn't believe it. Then there's my grandpa's tool chest. I don't know if I want to put that in this video right now, but that is a old antique tool chest. I might do a separate video just on that tool chest alone, and label it possibly maybe the oldest tool chest on YouTube. You guys tell me, would this be about the oldest tool chest you ever seen? Yeah, buddy. We'll find out. I might do a little separate video just on that tool chest alone, but I want to do this video on the stuff my grandpa had. It's scroll saw, joiner, table saw, radle arm saw, another scroll saw, router table, and a dust collecting system. So I thought you guys might enjoy this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Just finally decided to get to do it. Well, my health hasn't been very good here lately either, and I'm finally getting around a little bit better. So, like I said the last time, oh, I forgot to tell you in the last video that after I was able to walk around a little bit, and I couldn't move around very well. I mean, I was actually crawling on my hands and knees with the pain I had in my back. It was so intense and bad, I was about crying. I cried for about 5 days. But anyways, like I said, my left side is numb, and I couldn't eat. I couldn't go to the bathroom. My insides got all messed up, because all I was eating was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And then I had a viral something going on with that, and boy, I've been in a mess, but I'm doing better now. So hopefully this numbness goes away my left leg. I'm hoping it's doing a little better. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, I want to do this video on this my grandpa stuff, and maybe I'll do a video on my grandpa's tool chest there. So we'll catch you guys in the next one, and thanks for always watching. Yeah, we'll see ya.